This is the Okayest Hunter podcast. Never pass on shooter bucks, because that's just meat in the freezer. It's your tag, you hunt how you want. This is Okayest Hunter.
Welcome to the Okayest Hunter podcast. We're in the Okayest Hunter podcast studio here in Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. It's fun to say that because a number of folks are like, oh my God, you're from Oconomowoc. And then when they know where that is, it's like really special. And everyone else is like, what are you saying? Akanaakamakama?
What you need to do is feed them a bottle of that and have them pronounce it for their very first time.
Marksman?
Yeah, or whatever.
Oh, have a bottle of it and then say,
Get them lubed up. And
I
then
see.
Get
say
them lubed up
Oconomowoc.
real
I
good.
thought, are you not
and-
pointing to the Malort, are you?
Yeah, feed them that so we don't have to.
Save that for us.
Yeah, save that for us.
Feed them the Malort.
Yeah.
Give them the Malort.
Welcome to the studio. Here's some Malort. Like, oh, cool, thanks. Oh, and then they just puke in here.
Yeah, you better change this to hard surfaces then and break
Disgusting.
out the mop.
They break out the mop.
Sounds like you're gonna need some hard surfaces in all areas of the house.
Yeah, we got pets leaking fluids everywhere. It's kids puking. Dude, everything is gross.
It's a
So I'm
fart-
ready to gut a deer.
It's totally a fart and booger factory.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful to gut it.
Yeah, let me just go gut a deer. That sounds like a walk in the park compared to what I got to deal with around here.
Not bad.
Oh my goodness. Hey, so we're brought to you by Spartan Forge, but we're not going to talk about those guys right now because we got a whole episode to hang out with Bill to talk about those guys and dive super deep into their AI. And that's not a sexual joke.
Whoa, where are we
Real
going with
nice
that?
and deep like.
We got to get
Go
weird
deep
quick.
into
Let me
your
check out
AI.
your Tapo features.
Let's talk about your AI, baby. We can get real freaking nerdy over here. Anyway, so now that we got that weirdness injected into the show,
You have a gift for making things weird.
that's the point. Bill's laughing. I can see his face. That's good.
Yeah, you're pretty fired up today.
I'm not. I'm in a edgy mood.
You're in
You are.
rare form,
Yeah.
as we like to say in my
I need to
house.
kill a
What's got you so
freaking.
pissy?
I need to just kill a freaking deer. I need to feed my Vector custom shop. I need to put my Latitude saddle to the best possible use, which I have been doing. And then I need to go tag my trophy and go wild. There, that's everybody.
There
right?
you go. You got it.
Dude, I got a piece of information that might help you. Saw it the other day, really nice. Guy had a whole demonstration with like a graph. It was like a time. It was
I
like,
know where you're going with
yeah,
this.
it made
It
sense.
was really good.
That was my
And
optimistic
he
self.
looked-
This is my
he looked-
pessimistic
he
self.
didn't like
It looked
that.
a lot like him.
That guy looked just like
It's
you.
just like you.
Yeah, it's like, so I'm Eric right now because my hat's backward, but if I turn it forward, I'm dad, according to my son. So,
What is this? Over the top?
dude, my son will like put my head backward. He's like, "You're Eric," and then he'll put it forward. Goes, "Now you're dad."
Hi, your dad.
Oh, so if I have a backwards hat, I'm Eric.
Good to be with
Now you
Eric.
see me. Now you don't.
Yeah, exactly. The
Magic
boogie- yeah, the magic man, shake and bake, baby.
Shake and bake.
So you were in Illinois.
I was.
How'd that go?
We had a great time. I got to hunt with my dad for the first time in a long time, like an actual hunt.
That's
Okay.
a big deal.
And the weather was actually really crummy. Like it rained like crazy. The second day we were there all day, poured, and then the warm weather that everyone's been experiencing in the Midwest rolled in. It was 72 or higher every day for the rest of our hunt. But we still saw deer. We had chances. Dad and I both had chances at 3.5-year-olds that we passed. So I could have shot my first ever like stalked bedded buck. Came over this hill and I looked down this little gully and there's a bedded buck just laying there looking
Oh my
at
God.
me. He had 5 on one side and a goofy, weird, long fork that like came over the center of his head and went to
Okay.
the other side. And the sucker was just looking at me. So I just like peeked my head up. So I got back down. I grunted a couple times, scratched some leaves with my foot. He just laid there. So I was like, let me take a video. So I took a video on my phone, still laying there. Let me draw my bow. Drew my bow back, stood up. He stood up, stood there, 40 yards. I had my pin on him. I was like, it's just not big enough. And he literally just watched me. I let my bow down, grunted at him a couple more times. I was like, these deer are dumb. And then finally, he bounded off.
That's the kind of deer I need to find. A really dumb one.
But I never shot one like stalking up on one.
Yeah.
So it would have
I was
been
like-
cool.
Kind of would have been cool. But where he was, I was also like, it was a midday scout. I took my bow. My dad was taking a nap in the truck. And I was at like the back corner of this little piece. And I was like, dang, Dad's not going to be pumped to know we're dragging out a smaller buck than I would have wanted from the hardest place to drag from. So we'll just let that go.
Maybe he is dominant though, Could have been small in stature, but big in personality.
He was lazy. That's for damn
He's
sure.
lazy. I don't want to get up. Just take me.
Feet were out. I'm just resting, but leave me alone.
And Greg, what about you? You're just a swamp man over there.
Nothing. 0.
You've seen bucks. You've sent us videos of actual bucks.
Whatever.
You snort wheezed one yesterday.
Yeah, I snort wheeze it to make it
Can you
go
do the
away.
snort wheeze with your mouth?
Yeah.
That's bullshit. That was minimum effort.
Well, it's fine.
You can do it for real. I like making Greg do calls on the podcast because he's really good at it, and he gets really embarrassed or something. I don't know what you call this,
It's
but
it's like a humility. He doesn't want to show off his skills, but he knows he's got the skills.
Was it
to pay
Napoleon
the
Dynamite?
bills.
How does Napoleon Dynamite say? I got skills. Want to see my skills?
Nunchuck skills. Do you know a nunchuck?
My nunchucks don't fit in your locker anymore.
All right, we're bringing Bill on. This is
Bring
enough
it
of this
on.
bullshit.
This is ridiculous.
What's up, Bill?
Hey guys.
Sorry about all that shenanigans.
Are you sure you want to be on
No,
the
that's
show?
great.
You're rolling your eyes already. I can sense it.
Are you happy to be our
I
sponsor?
haven't rolled my eyes. Very happy.
That's a lie.
I
You're
agree.
good.
I agree with Greg. Eric is in rare form tonight.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys should just run this shit for me tonight. I can't.
You can't relinquish control. That's not you.
Dude,
Like we would have to like stuff and cuff you and put you up in the living room.
All I
Duct
do is
tape
push
on
a
your
couple
face.
buttons over here. It's really not that important or difficult. You guys could easily do
I
this
think
stuff.
you're going to need to talk to Bill to figure out where in the hell you're going to kill a deer tomorrow, though.
Yeah, we're looking. So we're on I have the web app pulled up on the big. Well, it's not a big TV, but it's not a tiny computer screen, and we're looking at where the hell I'm going to go tomorrow because we got Jace, our videographer here, from where are you like Duluth, Minnesota, or something. Yeah, he drove like 7 hours to be here tonight,
just to listen to you.
and I'm like, we're gonna go hunting tomorrow morning, but I don't know where we're gonna go yet. So we're trying to look at the wind and the predictability and all the stuff. And your app, Bill, gives us, bar none, the best. I can literally pick the freaking tree. Anyway, I'll step backwards a little bit here because there may be some folks that don't know about you. I've been sharing your app with people at boat launches, trailheads. People are blown away. They're like, "What is that app? What is that?" They don't even understand what's happening when I show that I can change the date, and they think it's like sorcery. I'm like, yeah, well, wizards made this thing, so it's like incredible. But
Wizard.
yeah, a wizard. So how can we kill a buck during the rut with Spartan Forge? Let's just wind you up.
You just want me to start right in on it? Just this is how you do it?
Yeah, we're just gonna go. Like we don't need to do all the fluffy
Well,
stuff.
that kind of question's contextual. Like, what are we on? Like, are we on public land? Are we on private land? Is it hill country? Is it agriculture? What are we looking at?
This is why we have you on, because you're a real expert. So at least if we're gonna be really selfish and like make this about us, because it is about us.
Absolutely.
Like, sorry if you're a listener, you're not from here.
Yeah, but we're gonna go like flatland farm country with a little bit of swamp and
Swamp.
marsh.
Yeah, and marsh probably.
Mhm.
But if we get to the western part of the state where I'll be gun hunting in 2 weeks, that is like bluff country, very hilly, and lots of farmland kind of interwoven in between that.
Slow your roll, Stu. Let's just do one thing at a time here.
He's already trying to extend
What's
that
that?
range.
Yeah.
You're poking there. Gotta
Yeah.
get that deer down.
A little hope and poke.
Yeah, they're giving me crap. So let's just talk about farmland, flat swamps for now.
Yeah, so swamps make things simple. At least not simple. They make them difficult, but simple. When I hunt swamps, when I'm hunting swamps, especially if I have UAV imagery on the app, I'm looking for intersecting trails that are leading to some type of food source, like a acorn island or something along those lines, and or any type of high ground bedding. And I'm marking those in the app, and I'm looking at where those intersect. And then I'm looking at I'm using the historical wind feature in the application. Can you guys hear me still?
Yeah. I just made you full screen, so we're here.
Yeah. I saw. I can't see you guys. I didn't know if you could hear me or not. Then I'm looking at historical wind. I'm looking at historical winds in the application, and I will, if it's early season or if it's before something like the rut, I am sitting off and doing observation sits probably 3 to 5 times at least, where I'm getting super high with binos and I am glassing and I'm watching how deer are leaving certain areas, these raised ground pieces that you might scout in the spring. I'm watching how they leave and I'm watching which directions they go, and I'm noting the wind. Especially in those types of areas, they really use the wind to their advantage. And it kind of determines their path and direction. And what I find with especially older bucks is that they won't travel with the wind in their face. They'll kind of travel with the wind like kind of at a cross to their back. So it's kind of, if the buck is a clock and the 12 o'clock is the nose, the wind will be coming from like 5 or 7 o'clock and crossing them. It's not always the case, but I just find that to be the case a lot of the times, that it'll be kind of crossing them coming from their back, and they're kind of watching in front of them. And I'll note the winds and the directions that I'm seeing at the deer move. And then I am getting in, when I'm actually going to be going in for the hunt in like this marsh swamp type of setting, I've done it on a ladder, especially when I lived in Maryland and there are lots of swamps there. I would simply just get up on a ladder, and I've done hunts from ladders before. I've killed does from ladders before. But I'll wait for the same conditions that I've observed to take place. I'll set myself up, get in early, set myself up with either a ladder, or if there are trees present that I can get inside of, even if they're super small, set up on those trails and, poke the first deer I see, or if I'm waiting for a specific buck, keep hitting. But I'm always paying attention to the path of travel, the wind direction, and kind of how they're using the topography and the swamps to their advantage, because if they're in there, they're probably pressured. That's pretty much how I do swamps. I'm also not a swamp expert.
You mentioned you use the historical wind data, the feature on Spartan Forge there. What's the best way to use that? What are you using that for? Just to see like the typical winds for that time of year, or what are you specifically kind of keying in on with the historical data?
Yeah, that's a good question. So before I'll actually go and do the set, it's a good question, and I should have gone into this even more. I'll look up so if I think the hunt's going to be in September, I'll use the application and I'll look up on the polar plot what the primary wind is for September. It's the same almost every year. Like they're generally, especially like where you guys are, it's probably a westerly or like a northwesterly that time of year. So I'll look for the first and second wind with using that polar plot on the inside of the Spartan Forge app. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the wind is northwest, 28% of the time, and then it's south that time of year 16% of the time. And those are your top two winds. Those are the winds that I'll wait for to do my observation sit. And then those are the winds that I'll go in and do the hunt on. I won't hunt winds that I haven't done observation sits for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That's getting real granular.
Well, that's what the deer are most commonly dealing with, so that's where their most effective pattern most likely comes from.
And if they're using that pattern, they're also probably the most comfortable in that wind. Like they know that wind the most. That makes them the most comfortable, which gives them a false sense of security.
I'm gonna have to replay this and listen back to this part several times.
There, schoolboy,
because I'm pushing a lot of buttons here. Like I don't even have the camera on me because I'm
beep boop bop boop.
Yeah, pretty much. But
Eric, also you have my phone number, so you could just call me anytime.
He would love. I bet he would.
Okay,
love to hear from you.
There's a Disney movie called Coco about Della de Muertos, or however you say it. I'm not Hispanic, so I'm not getting it correct. But it's a beautiful movie by Disney, I think. Whatever.
My daughter likes that movie.
A good one, right? And there's this part where Miguel, right, is that his name? The main little character guy says, I don't want to just get this dude's approval. I want to actually do this. I actually want to like earn the rights to be this musician. I don't want to get a lot of help, because I want to know that I can do this on my own to some degree. Yeah. I want to validate that I'm actually putting the pieces together.
This is pretty deep.
Well, you can just learn how to do it and then do it on your own. I mean, I didn't just go out and hunt and then just hunt and learn. I absorbed as much information as I could possible, and then I, pragmatically put it into practice.
So that's the thing I always said, you show a man how to use historical wind data, knows the wind for a day. You teach a man.
Teach a man. If you teach a man, don't teach a
Y'all
man.
are.
I also only rate big deer on the ground, so there's probably people to ask these questions to, but none of them, are probably. I don't know. Guys on our pros probably could say how they use it. I would by no means, by the way, I should preface this with saying I'm not the expert on deer hunting. I would say I'm at least successful in the deer woods. I've been getting my teeth kicked in up here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's an interesting topic in and of itself, because it seems like the rut is not like there's a meme, of the like stick figure character poking something, say, come on, do something. Like that's the rut right now. Like, come on, do something.
Everybody's waiting for it, expecting it.
Yeah. Where's the seeking and chasing and all the
And
craziness that
everybody
we're
is looking
expecting?
at this weekend's forecast, just licking their chops.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because the temperature is going to drop by like a factor
30.
of 20, 30 degrees.
Yeah, it's going to be a big drop.
Bill, it's going from like 60 to 30 here between
We're
now
supposed
and
to see
Saturday.
almost 70 on Thursday, and then it's going to go right in the toilet.
Right in the toilet.
Well,
Heaven.
for some,
Right
for some
down
the
to
toilet.
heaven.
For us, it's straight up to heaven.
Yes.
Yeah, it's getting interesting. So let's do you some justice here, because you're taking time out of your day and out of the deer woods to be. I mean, it's dark now, so like whatever. But I think there's been a lot happening with Spartan Forge. You have more data that you've collected. I don't know if you brought in more colleges and tracking color information, but I know that there is now a web app that is available. There's a free version of it available. There are 3D contours available. Your top lines are tighter than ever. Like, maybe talk about some of those things, then we can get back into how we are going to kill a buck in a swamp tomorrow.
Yeah, we've added a lot since the last time. I don't even remember. When was the last time I was on the show? Was it last year when I was heading home? I think so.
Yes.
I think
Yes, it was.
probably.
So since then we've added what I call the Lambda map, which is just like a historical, or I'm sorry, not historical. It's a customizable map that allows you to kind of set up your own map to swipe through. We have, the 3 setup maps that everyone has access to, and then there's this 4th one that's customizable. We're actually going to add a second Lambda map here pretty soon, because we'll be adding a layer that does like weather and a ton of other stuff that I can't get into right now. But weather is one of the main things that'll be on that last Lambda map. So there'll be 5 now maps for you to customize.
That's pretty killer.
Like a weather overlay, so I can see when you can see wind on there now, like with the little dial.
No, it'll be like a windy weather layer. It'll look like the windy app. But it'll also be like you can see. I'm sorry.
Like Windy Tie, the Windy Tie app, you can see the wind direction, the arrows flowing over the landscape.
Yeah, and you can see how it goes on the landscape, and then you can see weather systems, fronts. You can look at barometric pressure. You can look at lightning storms. There's all kinds of stuff like that. It'll be on a second Lambda layer that you can configure to kind of look at the app, to look at weather the way that you want to look at weather. You'll be able to fully customize it. But anyway,
as I say, if I want to see a date in the future, like tomorrow or next Saturday or whatever, I know I can scrub through weather data, but will this new feature allow me to do that on the map itself? Because I'm just such a visual idiot. Like, I need to just see it happening.
Yep.
As I look at it.
You'll be able to do all that. It's going to be pretty cool. And then what else have we added? We've added 10-foot contours. We've added, well, we used to have just like 20 or 30-foot contours. Now we have 10, 20, and 25-foot contours. We have a LiDAR layer and a gradient layer that'll be out here in about a week. We have...
What does LiDAR mean for us lay folk?
LiDAR is just a simple way of thinking about it, just high-resolution topo data it's got 1 to 3 meter resolution, so you'll be able to see like the base map itself looks really cool. It looks like, if you've ever seen like the beginning of Game of Thrones, the base map kind of looks like that, and then it's got you can overlay colors on it to show how steep certain parts of the terrain are. It's just a gradient map, kind of like what you might see in like Cal Topo or something like that.
I understand.
El Topo was the first place I came across that, and then some like county GIS or like state GIS, government GIS
The
had
GIS.
LiDAR in some websites, and it was really helpful to see those steep drops and just what kind of hills you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we have that, and then we've done the historical imagery that you guys talked about before. We added a lot of 5 centimeter imagery to places. I think we added a significant amount, actually. We did the 3D mapping that you guys saw. We did the web app, and there's a lot more cool features coming on the web app very soon as well. You'll be able to set up a split screen display so that you can look at one map on one side of the screen, one map on the other, and whatever you do on one map will mirror on the other map. And then the next thing that's coming out, I've talked about it before. We had some problems with it, but we've got it ironed out, is Blue Force Tracker, which is just a way for you to share pins seamlessly with buddies or to share location real time. So that's I would say that's the cliff notes on what we've added. We've done a lot of work under the hood as well to make the app more solid and to scale and distribute better. So we've been very, 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 very busy. Busiest I've ever been in my entire life.
That's got to be saying a lot, because you used to be busy hunting terrorists at one point in time in your life. So that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm working more hours now than I was then.
Jeez,
Welcome to being a business owner.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got some 80-hour weeks here. I've been doing.
God bless you.
The number. There's like a lag.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but
you
know, I've seen some chatter in different forums, and you guys have been really good at making a presence in various conversations on the internet and a lot of corners of the internet too, and like even Facebook groups where people are like saying, "Hey, random internet user group, what's the difference between Spartan Forge and Onyx?" And there's not, in my mind, a real comparison, because Spartan Forge has a deer movement predictability built on the back of deer tracking color data, to create millions of data points to inform this predictive modeling AI stuff.
And if you're a hardcore whitetail hunter, this is the app to have.
Yeah, like Onyx isn't aimed at whitetail necessarily, and I'm not saying that you guys are always going to be in the whitetail category, but you guys have arguably one of the strongest pro staffs that exist in the hunt category, of just a good group of guys that take their stuff really seriously, and have a historical like accolades of actually putting down mature whitetails
Pretty unbelievable.
in some pretty tough conditions. So I say all that to say, I don't know what the hell I was going to say. That y'all are busy. Yeah, maybe that was the point. I don't know, but it's
we've got an IG live actually tonight. Right after I'm done with this, I'm going to walk into this restaurant here and eat, and then I'm going to come back out, and we've got an IG live with Levi Morgan and Lee Ellis. That's going to be pretty fun. And those are, I think 2 pretty good exemplars of the pro staff that you were talking about on Spartan Forge. We really do have a pro staff that can put deer down anywhere they go. And I'm pretty proud of the group of people that we've assembled. They're all quality people, and we all, have each other's back and look out for each other and help each other out whenever possible. Hell, I'm staying at Johnny Stewart's place right now. Johnny's, for people who don't know who he is, he's one of the best northeastern whitetail hunters in the world. He's one of the best everywhere. He kills everywhere, but he's also one of the best people in the world.
Yeah, and he's humble. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. He's humble. He's nice. He'd do anything to help anybody. He's just that kind of a guy.
Yeah, when I was there last year for your vet hunt, he's like would almost quite literally give you the shirt off his back, and he'd put everybody in spots, like just no ego at all, just like all about helping everyone that was there and being a good host.
And those were all his best spots.
I believe it. Yeah, good stuff. I think what I was going to say before is that, like, you're a small, nimble team currently. You're not the, big gears turn slow at Onyx, I would have to imagine. And they have a robust team and blah, 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 blah. But the product that you guys have come to market with is superior in a number of ways, in my opinion. And I just want to tell people that are listening, to like the folks that are in those chats, there's a couple squeaky wheels, but you guys give them the attention and you're there to like go hand to hand with them and go deep into the weeds and help them. And the fact that you're just such a small team doing something better than a Goliath that's been around for years is a real testament to the team that you have and the work that you're doing. And also that people should give you guys some grace as you develop, because it's hard work. You don't have all that manpower just yet. So like, I'm speaking about two different things at the same time out of both sides of my mouth here. I'm just impressed, obviously. And we're happy that, you guys work with us and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I work really hard to be interacting with all of the users and keeping a pulse on what is going on with the application or what people's problems are with it, but also get a pulse on what features people want to see next, and to answer the questions outright. And that is something I'm going to avoid with this company, no matter how large. I mean, we've gained a lot of usership this year, enough usership that we can, we're self-sustaining and we can hire more people. We just hired 2 more developers, and that's what we do with all of the profit. We're either hiring developers or we are buying more imagery. Those are the only 2 things we're doing with it. And we've been able, we're going to be at like 14 people here pretty soon. I make sure that I have the pulse of what the user wants, where they're going, what they're doing. I add any Instagram messages or Facebook messages or questions about the application or input or whatever. I make sure I'm the one that responds to them. And, I carve out right now I'm at about 2.5 hours of my day every day is spent answering people's questions, taking comments about the application, commenting online, finding people in groups that are commenting on us, because we exist because of the hunter, and so we do our best to serve that ethic and to reach out to as many people as possible and let them know what we're doing, for them in the whitetail woods.
Well, let's bring a caller on, because we have someone that I think you have met personally at the Veterans Hunt, if I'm not mistaken. My call transcription says it's Kevin Masters, but I believe that to be Evan Masters. Evan, you're live on the show. You got some questions for Bill?
Hey, I do. I just kind of missed the first little parts. I hope I didn't miss anything. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, Evan. How are you?
Good,
Good, buddy.
Good. Hey, so basically, I'm curious, from all the great things I've already seen Spartan Forge, just like you guys just talked about, all the improvements, all the cool features and everything. I'm just kind of curious if Bill has a finger on the of his next near-term goal, or kind of what's the low-hanging fruit on his. Or I guess I can talk straight to you, Bill. But what are you looking at for your next kind of goal to knock out as far as the app goes, usership, and kind of as far as the company goes? Because we're all in it.
Well, I can't say who it's with. We've signed a major deal with a major company in the outdoor space that's really going to help us in the market and get us some information that we sorely need. Can you hear me?
You're not getting any audio on my end here.
Oh, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. I didn't know if Bill was talking or not. I can't hear anybody else.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear
Bill,
you.
we can hear you, but it doesn't sound like Evan can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Well, I guess my goal right now as a CEO is to get that partnership off the ground. We'll be announcing it here pretty soon.
Yeah, something's happening here with the. For some reason, Evan, you're not hearing Bill, but I think we all are. So he's actually answering your question. I'm not sure what the deal is, but yeah, hang in. I'll drop you off the line. Bill can continue to answer your question, and then we'll see if this happens with any other calls. I'm not sure. That's a new problem. Classic.
Yeah, so we have this new partnership I'm very excited about. It's going to really help the company. We'll be announcing it here probably next month. It's going to really help us out as we my goal was to start the company kind of solely focused on whitetail for a number of reasons. One is because whitetail is my passion, and that's what I've been, doing with most of my adult life and my leisure time is hunting whitetail. It's the target that I know. It's the space that I know. I am in the market myself, but also I feel it's the largest and the most underserved market. For some reason, I feel like a lot of these applications and tech companies and companies that are making gear just are I'm immediately attracted to the Western stuff, and I'm not sure why that is, but I think everyone envisions themselves as being a high-minded intellectual fly fishing on a river in Montana or something, and forgets where they come from. I don't know what it is, but that's kind of where I focus. We are going to move west in the next couple of years. We're not going to lose the whitetail focus to the application, but we are going to bring Western features to bear, and this next company that we're working with very closely is going to help us do that, and we're very excited about that. On the tactical level, we just finished acquiring all of the trail data for all of the U.S. So for people who are missing some trails on their map right now, we didn't have a lot of the state and county trail systems on the maps. We've just painstakingly gone out and gotten all of those, and we'll be hosting those probably by the end of the week. Blue Force Tracker that I've talked about before is really my goal for before rifle season, before like the 3rd or 4th week of November. Although I usually never make my timelines, but that's what I'm aiming at, to get that Blue Force Tracker out, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do for the season.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a nice feature because, like, right now I'm just screenshotting stuff and sending it to the group, like Derek and Greg and our buddy Tyler. Like, this is where I'm at. It'd be great to send them the pin, but so I've just been like sending coordinates and having you guys open up the app there to take a look, and like, because I'm trying to get feedback here and there, and I think having the Blue Force Track, feature that I think a lot of folks are pretty used to at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And having that, and if that includes some sort of live tracking, like you mentioned, and sharing with a friend, like that's something I've always wanted for the last 10 years.
Right.
So I think that'll be excellent.
Yeah, that's a good feature. Yeah, and so Evan, thanks for the question and the call. I don't know why you couldn't hear Bill, but you could hear us, and everyone could hear you. So, a new problem to go and solve with the podcast stuff. There was another caller in the queue, but they dropped off, so I don't know who that was. Sorry if we missed you there. But there was a question that I was going to bring up here in the chat because we're live and we have those coming through also. I'm going to put up on the screen here, Bill, so you can take a look. It says, hey, Bill, with deer movement in bluff country, do you see bucks spending more time in bottoms during the day when temperatures are higher than normal during the rut? Thanks. And that was from Travis Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. Spending way more time in the bottom than normal and near water. One of the things, especially in bluff country, in high temperature, especially high temperatures, but it seems to be all the time, is that the deer are never far away from water. The good bucks are never far away from water. So yes, I do see that. And they spend a lot more time in those bottoms than people, I think, understand. I would say they spend more time in bottoms than they do in that, you hear that old rule, top third is where the bucks are. I would say that's the exception and not the rule.
It's interesting because just today I flipped through, I was watching on YouTube on my lunch break, and I saw Bill Winke on his show on YouTube had just shot a buck on Halloween, and he figured he was bedding up on these ridges, but he hunted in this big bottom valley, and it was a 73-degree day, Halloween, and that buck was down chasing does in the valley that was shaded at 4 o'clock and just kept chasing until he made his way past the stand, and Bill Winke got a crack at him and got him. So I was like, yep, cooler temperatures down in the bottom. There he was. Exactly what you just said.
Imagine that.
That's interesting. So then switching to bluff country, which is where I'll be gun hunting. Now we finally made it out of the swamp and we're in the bluff country. Gun is a totally different beast just due to the fact that there's 600,000 people in our state of Wisconsin that are out and about doing that type of hunting. Where everyone's out the Blaze Orange Army, if you will, right? That's what everyone calls them here. I don't know if they call them that everywhere else, but I think in the U.S. there's I think we have at least in Wisconsin, more people that have rifles than some armies in the world. So hunting pressure takes up a whole bunch, and maybe some of that stuff is irrelevant because everyone's just sitting in the woods. I don't know where I'm going. I'm trailing off because I'm thinking there is a bottom. There are like streams cutting through the terrain in several ways and tributaries feeding into that bottom. But I know that a shit ton of hunters are going to be in that same damn bottom. So maybe that's don't tell them to go down there, Bill.
I don't know.
Tell them to go up.
After hunting with your crew, like most of the guys like to sit on top, and the few bucks that I did see, they were on a bench.
Mid.
Yeah, they were mid to lower third, not far from the stream, and their escape route was down and across the stream. So they weren't far from water.
So
that's more commonly what I see, what Greg just described.
Yeah, Bill, when you talk about like your topo lines and the closeness of them that you're able to see, like, are you able to now identify shelves that maybe I couldn't have seen before, at least from like an e-scouting perspective?
Yeah, for sure. And then they'll especially become evident when we put the new topo map up. So this new topo map is LiDAR generated. I've been testing it this week, and it's amazing. You can see, old logging trails. Those types of things are a lot more evident in areas where you might not know that they exist. Deer like to make scrapes on those. It looks extraordinary. So yeah, with the 10-foot contour lines, definitely you should be able to see benches and that type of stuff. But then with the LiDAR data and the gradient and the slope angle shading, you're really going to be able to see those little small, minor terrain features that deer gravitate towards.
Bill's just ruining it. You used to have to go out and work to find the good spots. Now you can just use this and everybody can find the good spots. Damn it, Bill.
What about that narrative that like there's too much tech in hunting and you're taking all the work out of it and blah blah? That's been an argument I've seen and heard. Like, how are you navigating that?
But more so with cell cameras, and that's a battle for another day.
I call those people Luddites.
That's a great word.
The people who are like, there's too much tech in this or whatever. It's like, there's still maps. You're still scouting. You still have to do boots on the ground. I've said it kind of since the beginning of the app. I started out developing the application is, you already have a God's eye view of the world with your old, your legacy mapping apps. And you're, shooting, a 243 or a 30-06 that you can reach out and touch someone. What is the difference? Who's better outfitted to go into the woods? A guy with a 30-06, the rifle that's been around for 100 years, 80 years, or a guy who's got a stick bow with a Spartan Forge app?
That's a good matchup.
Who's got the advantage there? I would say the guy with the gun still has the advantage, but tools are just tools, and LiDAR. I'm sorry.
Unless you're Fred Bear and you know how to use the Spartan Forge app really well.
Yeah, I mean, LiDAR data's been out there. I'm just centralizing it. I'm not developing LiDAR data. I'm just getting LiDAR data from all 50 states, and I'm hosting it in one place. So the LiDAR data, as I think I heard Eric or someone say it before, it's already available. You just have to go out and get it. Everything that's in the Spartan Forge app is already available. It's stuff that I've been, getting from 6 or 7 apps for the past few years. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I'm just centralizing the wheels all on one vehicle. So I'm not doing anything new. But to the Luddites or to the people who say, we're putting too much tech in this, it's like, well, tech is everywhere, and if we want to involve kids, we got to do this. And people are, especially in this economy, are having to work more and have less time to hunt. And if I can give them an application that's going to allow them to do more digital scouting and spend less time away from their family or less time away from work and allow them to still get the job done, then damn it, I'm going to do that.
I love it. That's good.
And people can choose not to use it,
And Scott, Brian in the comments said it's another tool, definitely doesn't shoot the deer for you. And obviously that's true. And we're getting some weird spam from like some sexting service on YouTube. So thanks a lot for that, you freaking spam bot. I'm trying to delete it and block user and I put him in a YouTube timeout, whatever that means. Another new problem to navigate. Jesus.
Hey, I'm glad we're getting some love here.
The rut is on, guys.
The rut is on. The girls are Private dating chat girls. Let's go.
Those does are hot. Let's get at it,
Look at this.
fellas.
Is that a smoochy face?
Can we make a Spartan
Smoochy
Forge?
face, a heart.
Can
I
we
mean,
make
they
a,
started off soft with no emoji, then they went to smoochy face, and then they went to the heart. That's hardcore.
But they didn't show that.
Doughbleed, pause, doughbleed.
See, I mean, they don't know deer lingo, so clearly that's a spam bot.
We can still work with
They
it.
didn't
Yeah.
show that. What's that? The apricot or what is that thing? The
Eggplant.
eggplant.
The
The apricot and
eggplant-
eggplant count with a
Yeah.
peach.
That'd be like
Yeah,
the equivalent of the
that's
grunt
it.
call, right? That's the
Gotta get your fruits and veggies right.
Oh my
Right.
goodness, guys! Someone else had Bill. Someone else had a question. I think it was Tony about the name Spartan Forge,
Yeah.
and I think that's fun to talk about. Talk about the name for 2 minutes here. How,
So,
'cause he thinks-
so like,
he
why
said-
do we have the name?
yeah.
Long story short, it's kind of cliche, but in the military, when I was a warrant officer, we would always do these things called staff rides, where essentially, our general officer that I worked for would take us out. We'd go see some famous battle or see some, go to a veteran cemetery and talk about, famous soldiers or anyway, these things happen all the time in the military and you're always trying to learn from the past. In the military, we studied the Spartans a lot. And, obviously the Hot Gates at Thermopylae is a battle that gets talked about because of the way that the Spartans were able to use the terrain and despite their small forces, inflict heavy casualties on a much larger, better equipped enemy force. And, when we're in the deer woods, the deer still have the advantage despite all of the tools that we have. They still walk more than we kill. And with the name Spartan Forge, essentially a forge is just a place that you get weapons. And so this is the repository of wealth, knowledge, and weapons, digital weapons for the hunter. So yeah, Spartan Forge is just kind of lifted from that I guess that ethic, that the Spartan military tradition.
You downplayed that, but that's like a kick-ass reason for that name.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Another question for you, Bill.
Yeah,
This is why it's nice.
I like
We're still getting sexting from the YouTube. So my hot photo here. Who wants to click on that spam bot?
Nope. And it's got the numbers 6 and 9 and a whole lot of X's.
Well, that's how you know it's real rut activity. This
This has got to be some of my high school kids
It could
spamming
be.
us.
it is peak breeding season, gentlemen.
I mean, it's supposed to be the 15th, and we're a little off here. Come on. Couldn't hold on.
Scott asked, Bill, has running the app added to your deer season experience, or does it make it that much harder having split focuses between the company and your own season?
Yeah, it's killing my season for 3 years. I just don't have the time to go out and scout. Like, scouting is still necessary, very necessary. And if you have more tools, it just allows you to find more spots to go scout, really. And I have not had the time to go and scout like I want to. So I'm out here hunting in PA, and I'm hunting last year's sets, and really didn't get on the ground this year and scout like I need to be successful. So it kind of hurts in that way. But then also I'm running a test version of the application, and I'm also running 3 phones while I'm out here because I'm testing on Apple, Android, and production. So every time I'm doing something, I'm doing it on 3 different phones, and I'm looking, to see if there are errors or, generating error logs and looking through them to see what's going right or wrong with the application. And then whenever there's a major problem, sending it off so that we can look at it when I get back. So I would say in that way, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm distracted generally, especially when something goes wrong with a testing application or something like that. So I'd say it probably takes more from my hunt than it adds.
Yeah, or some Yahoo named Eric starts messaging you and asking you how to kill a deer, and you're like, I'm trying to kill my own deer, Eric, yay hole. But I'm going to bring us back onto the tracks here to stay true to the subject, or at least the title of what I tried to talk about today. Someone just, I can't see it, just says Facebook user, because I think it's in the Shooter Buck Club, so it like masks them on this chat for some reason. So I don't know who it is, but I have an idea. It says, is this about rut or an app? So let's bring it back to maybe the predictability piece of like the data points that you've collected and synthesized and put AI against, And like, what are we looking for as users of the app on the Intel tab to tell us in terms of rut activity, short of the fact that like we seem to be in the rut, but like how can Spartan Forge help us in the rut? Like, what am I looking for when you consider full range movement, abnormal movement, core area, transition area, those types of terms that you have in there?
Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze here. Sorry.
Bless you.
Excuse me. All right, sorry. Did we hurt somebody's feelings, by the way, about talking about the app? Was that what that was?
No, they're
I
just
wasn't
saying
sure what
like
that question was.
talking about the rut, and we're talking about the app. But we
Well,
both.
they
We can do
lightened
both.
it up.
Oh, okay.
They just
Well,
said joke about the spam you were getting. It's all good.
Yeah, because
Derailment
the
of the
okay.
train.
the spots.
So I would say from a rut perspective on the Spartan Forge app, it really depends on if you know deer or not. Like, as far as if you've done your scouting or you have the property and you know the deer, then having the pattern is useful. And patterns we actually predict quite well against pattern because pattern is highly correlated with things like cloud cover, temperature, and wind direction. Deer use those three things to navigate terrain. At least smart deer do. So the pattern is highly dependent on those factors. So if you know how the deer normally navigate a piece of land, then knowing the pattern or if it's normal or abnormal is obviously very helpful, because if the deer generally come to a field from the northeast corner, because you generally have a south wind in the area that you're at, then if you're getting a normal prediction, then you can expect that normal behavior. If you don't know the deer, or you're like I am hunting public land right now up in the Allegheny, then the pattern matters less and the movement matters the most. And the movement is basically it uses 22 factors of weather to just kind of get an understanding for the user of where will the deer be traveling in their ranges. So a deer's range is broken down biologically into the core area, their transition areas, and their full range. The core area you can be thought about as bedtime or bedding areas. The transition area can be thought of in between destination and bedding, and then the full range is just everywhere that deer goes throughout the course of a year. So those three things are where what we predict against. We may be going to 5 buckets next year as we add more data. We're getting better and better prediction. But you're never going to see something from our application where it's like 3 p.m. tomorrow will be the best movement, because that doesn't work. The apps that do that is frankly, it's just bullshit. Whenever you look at deer movement or you look at collar GPS data, deer don't do anything at the same time. They just generally do some of the same things, but there's at no point can you look at deer collar GPS data, and say all of the deer got up yesterday at 3 p.m. That just doesn't happen.
No, but so like the best thing that Spartan Forge can display as far as like, I'm going to show the what's that fruit again?
The eggplant?
The fruit
or the peach? Or the combination?
If I'm going to share an eggplant and get a hard on about deer hunting, okay, to make it real awkward for everybody.
Just to be clear,
Now we're going to the grocery
just
store.
To be clear, Spartan Forge does not have an eggplant peach logo for the day.
No pineapples.
That I'm aware of.
No pineapple.
I'm going to be texting Bill eggplants all day tomorrow when I'm out hunting, because it's going to show. But no, I'm talking about like, am I looking for full range, very abnormal, and like those are the days that look you really need to find a way to get in the woods and quit your job tomorrow. Like those are the days.
Yeah, I mean that all depends, right? Because if you only have access to an area where the deer bed, then you want a core area day. So if you have property
and you know what you're doing, then that's a good day for you. But if you're me and you have no intel, no cams, no idea how to get to a bed, I'm looking for deer to just be all willy-nilly.
He must have seen the picture of the buck I shot this.
He might have.
Yeah, then you would be looking for full range, yeah.
All right.
That was an inverted eggplant.
Sorry, Bill. See, this would be better if you were here, because then you would just be like, drinking. We're drinking this shit called Marksman. Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of it, but we have it.
And $10 says you won't be able to hit the toilet when you leave here.
Hey, there's this guy on here in the chat named Nutto. That guy, I had to deal with him like a few months ago. He went nuts on me on the phone.
Hey, Mike, welcome to the show. You're in the chat, and I'd rather go hunting than listen or even use this bullshit. All right, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, he was trying to use the bullshit earlier in the season, and he couldn't figure out how to log into the app. And I actually called him, and he flipped out on me on the phone.
Well, let's hope
Pretty funny.
Mike doesn't call now because I don't want to navigate that. I've got enough technical issues to deal with today.
I think I figured out the other spamming that we were having, though, with the girl stuff. I think they have like a keyword, rut. They heard us talking rut stuff. And in Wisconsin, with gun season opening up, the girls come to the dancing bars, up north, and there's a bunch of dancing bars.
Yeah, weasels.
So they're trying to get people amped up and ready for all the the beautiful dance routines that are going to be going on.
I'm gonna have to cheers Derek for a good subject change there.
Yeah,
good job. No, but you can't please everybody. You just can't. And I always say, like, once you reach a certain magnitude of scale, it's probably good that you have haters because that means you've reached more people than your 100 best friends or whatever the hell.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing with haters too is like haters don't hate you; they hate themselves. So they are just projecting it onto the world. That's the other thing too, is like there people who throw all this hate at people who are trying to build things are just probably wishing deeply that they were building things and they're not. So it's easier to get angry at somebody who is building things rather than it is to deal with your own inadequacies. That I like being a CEO who deals with people. Like I said, if someone's like something's not working, call me. I'll call people and I deal with people. And 99.99999% of the time, people are gracious and they're happy to hear from the CEO of a company. And it's like always generally a positive experience. But then there are these people that just want to hate. That's just what they are. That's what they do, and that's how they're wired. And yeah, it's good. It's a good thing in my mind because it does mean we're scaling because we're even reaching the people that you'll never make happy. But yeah, it's definitely a thing. And I think if you don't have people that are haters, then you're probably not doing anything. You don't have principles if that's the case.
There, yes. Go ahead, Greg.
And coming from a manufacturing company, like I do tech support, so it means a lot to people when you answer the phone. And I think it takes more people by surprise when you actually call them to try and help them because you're passionate about it and you want them to understand. But you can't always lead a horse to water and expect them to drink.
No, I mean, and Bill, I have an app that pales in comparison to basically every app because it's not done. it's in production, and I don't know if it'll ever see the full light of day. But we have haters on that side of the fence because people think we're like ruining their hunting spots or something, which might be true. I don't know. Maybe we're making it easier, maybe we're not. But again, getting people that hate or whatever, it's not the worst thing in the world, and you can't make everybody happy and so forth. But to have a CEO of a 14-person startup who's working 80 hours a week, give someone a call and try to like walk someone through something, I'll be the first to say when I launched my app in 2013. People's argument back then was, I'm not bringing my cell phone into the woods. And I was like, okay. And to that point, the demographic or the audience that we had at the time were so technically inept, like inadequately, like the demographic was just older, blue collar, like, I don't know how to log in, I don't know how to use this and so forth. Like that was a pretty common theme that I remember dealing with way back then. And so if that's still playing out today, I'm not super surprised. Like I talked to my dad. My dad has your app. I think he used our OHP code, and my dad will call me when he can't log into something. And my dad is like the best test case because he can't log into anything. And Dad, I'm sorry. I know you're listening. And, yes, but he figures it out.
Like, dude, I'm not technical. This
figures
is
it out
beyond my pay grade.
Yeah,
but he'll figure it out. And
exactly.
If nothing else, he's at least kind enough to understand that I should probably call somebody that knows more about
this. My dad will bust my balls on my stuff all day long, and it's great because I'm like, if I can get my dad to be a believer user, then this is fucking working.
And I mean, this is no like consolation or anything, but what I've noticed about the Spartan Forge stuff is on social media, like some of the bigger Facebook groups, Wisconsin Rut Report, 50,000 people are in it, right? People ask questions. There's a million dumbass responses from every Tom, Dick, and Harry. But when I see the responses from like what hunting app is the best, and like there's a plethora of answers.
Oh yeah.
But the people that I tend to see on all these different pages and groups who say Spartan Forge are people who I have previously respected for the way they've conducted themselves and the way that they hunt and the way that they are in the woods. You have good people, obviously, your pro staff team, but there's really good, smart, like they value what you're doing because they are good at what they
Yeah.
do. That speaks
I find that to be the case too. I think you hit the nail on the head. I find that to be the case too. Like when I read like smart deer hunters, I even know people that are pro staffers for other hunting apps, competitive apps that I talk to that I've just met in the past that are using our application because they can get stuff like the polar plots, because they can get the 10 meter or the 10-foot contours, because they can get the 5 centimeter imagery, because they actually tested, like two of the guys actually tested the prediction for another company and found the prediction to work and still use the prediction and still talk to me. So whenever I find these like people who are serious deer hunters that use the app, they recognize that this was built by a serious deer hunter, and they recognize the value of what I'm trying to do, because we all have full-time jobs. We're all limited on time, and we all need to get as much done as we can before we step in the woods. And I think people see that. And so, yeah, I'm excited to keep heading in this direction. And, you know, we've obviously caught like a little bit of fire. I wouldn't say a ton of fire, but we have caught a little bit of fire because, you know, we've got a lot of people downloading and using the apps, and we're getting more positive prediction, especially on the prediction side, not even the rest of the app, but, you know, we probably have 25 or 30 a week of people saying they just listened to the prediction and for the first time, you know, it killed a buck or killed a big buck, or, you know, I get so many messages on Instagram and Facebook, like, got my first full range prediction, left my spot alone, went in the woods and took my deer. So those things, that to me is the most satisfying experience as a CEO of this type of company, when people do that type of stuff, and then those also become your best salesmen.
That's intrinsically rewarding as a CEO of a company to have that kind of feedback. We have different feedback from Okayest Hunter, but similar in nature as far as like how we've helped them in some way, shape, or form. It's always like, holy shit, I guess we should keep doing the podcast every Tuesday, right? Like, because people care. But you guys are on the bleeding edge, which is ahead of the cutting edge. And so from a usability standpoint, just to clarify, like you guys are doing things that have not been done before. So the usability of your app, like sometimes it can be inherently like complicated and feel like, what am I doing? Because it's not like anything else. I can literally move some of the features from left hand to right hand and hold and press, and I can get, so like if I have one hand without a glove or that's not holding my bow or whatever, I can use the app with one hand functionally. There's another app that's doing that, that's making modular movements of like where features live and exist. So for some people that could be confusing. But for like a younger generation where they were born with a smartphone attached to their umbilical cord, like my 5-year-old knows how to use a phone better than I do, and I'm 36, and that's weird to say because I feel like I'm fucking 56 saying that. But to that end, like you're making more people happy than not as a result of building that way. I think that's my
we have a couple of the. Yeah, no, I agree. We have a couple of the core features we need to build out a little better. One of them is like our public and private land stuff. That just comes down to hiring a full-time group of researchers to go out and grab the rest of that data, and we are doing that. So we'll tighten that up. And we just got the trail stuff like I talked about, so we tighten that up too. But what I didn't want to do was build another Onyx, or build another hunt stand, or build another. I didn't want to build just the same. What's that?
That was so naturally done. That was really nice.
I don't want to just build the same app over again. I wanted to get to like a minimally viable product that was analogous with the other apps, but then start building different stuff. Like Blue Force Tracker is going to be a radical departure. Our wear feature is a radical departure. Toggle the LiDAR map with the gradient is a radical departure. This is stuff that the other people aren't doing. And that's the stuff that really interests me. And the stuff that we'll be doing with this other company going into next year is stuff that the other companies haven't even thought about. It's not even, they don't even know that it's in the art of possible. And those are the things that excite me as a CEO to go and build, and to test and to equip the hunters with. And that's what drives me. And that's what I'm excited to do.
I dig it, man. It's great. And there's no other callers in queue, and comments have I think stopped reflecting the weird sex bots that have been coming through. The people that listen to our show have such a high value of entertainment coming from this. There's no
High
other
value?
daring
Did you say
podcast.
high value?
Did you say high value?
Well, high value of entertainment. I didn't say value
No?
of like,
Oh.
value. I'm just saying, are you not entertained? Like, where else does it come from? But you guys have a free version now too, Bill. What's included in there? Where's the cutoff line as to what I'm going to pay for? Like, what am I missing on a free version that I'm paying for on a paid version? And then we can kind of bring
the goal with the free version. The goal with the free version was to allow for people to stop overpaying for stuff like the competitor apps, where they're dealing in commodity data and they're just charging you for property data. So we made the property data free because people shouldn't be paying $115 a year for property data and some 1 meter maps. So the free app is basically property data, 3 of our maps, 3 of the 5 of our 5 features of maps. So we have like 3 base maps that are like SAT 1, SAT 2, SAT 3. But then we have UAV, which has the 5 centimeter imagery for 40% of the US with the 3 to 7 years of historical. They don't get the UAV layer, but they get the 3 base maps. They get public and private land. They get a 7-day weather forecast. They get journals. They get 3D maps. They get all the crap that companies shouldn't be charging people for because your taxpayer money is already paid for it. So they get all that for free. And then what we're making people pay for. Yeah. What we're making people pay for to access the app is the UAV imagery, the historical wind features, the 5 centimeter imagery, the historical imagery, the artificial intelligence, the new AI that we have coming out soon, the LiDAR maps, the gradients, we're going to have 5 and 10 foot contours next year, 10 foot for now, 5 foot next year. Like that stuff is computationally expensive to produce. And those are the things that push the envelope technically and prove our worth as a company. And on top of that, we're still half the cost of these other apps while we're doing this. That's kind of the cut line for us there.
No, I'm glad you took the time to explain that. I had another follow-up question to that I hope I can remember because it felt valuable and important to this. Crap.
Uh-oh. The plane's not coming in for a land.
No, damn it. It was really good,
It's been
too.
delayed.
The bed.
Tony.
We're not paying attention. We're playing with this little forky horn.
Craig's got an antler sticking on his
We have no
head.
clue
It's
what
very
we're doing.
distracting. I don't know. Look at these freaking
Thank
idiots.
God.
Got you good.
I'm gonna just zoom in on this
Got the best
dipshit
part.
train happening over here that's just pulling me off the damn rails. Why do we even do a podcast? What's the look at this freaking guy.
It's eggplant season,
Here.
bro.
It's like
Excellent, bro.
Boys are excited.
oh gosh.
Obviously, the girls are too.
Upright and mobile.
Oh yeah, well that's a way to say it. Now, damn it. The free version, I'm just trying to like recant my thoughts here to like bring it back around to something meaningful. And I'm gonna be pissed because it was really genuinely
Because
good.
you got all this going on right here.
Yeah.
Unicorn.
And what is this called again? There's a name for this.
I don't know. I'm
The
gonna shave
duck's
it. I'm gonna
ass?
shave your head after the podcast.
Can I leave for Jace, you have to stay. You're gonna have to film that.
Yeah, Bill.
gonna
You guys
go.
gonna do when you're veteran? This is not what I was gonna say, but this is. I know you have a timeline here, so if you have to drop off, you can drop off. But you have your veterans hunt that you're doing again. You did it last year, so again, talking about like the things you guys are doing. You guys made a patch last year, and like you're like we're not doing any. A lot of companies jump on bandwagon shit and be like, "Oh, it's Veterans Day. We're going to give you a discount." But it's like, well, yeah, that's one fucking day out of the year. They're in the military all year round. They're serving our country all year round. Like you're like, look, we're not doing this for vanity. We're doing it to genuinely give back. And you had nominated somehow. You had veterans come to this hunt at Johnny's cabin in Pennsylvania. It was beautiful, and like you donated back then to the boot campaign. I think you picked a different donor this year. Maybe just spend a couple minutes on that. Maybe my thoughts will come back to me here as you talk about.
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
vet
do a
hunting.
we're gonna announce a hunt giveaway here probably this week, Veterans Day week. I have a buddy who was a Navy SEAL. He died a few years back. His family set up a college fund, and we're going to be donating to that college fund this year. We're going to be taking some people hunting during the rut in Alabama. So, and we have got some great partners, Sitka, Spy Point Cameras, Vortex, Predator e-bikes. We're going to be giving away a lot of cool shit for this. And we've got some other sponsors that I'll be talking about soon that I'm just waiting for the contracts to come back. We're going to be donating a lot of gear. We raised $5,000, I think $5 or $5.5 last year. I'm trying to raise double that this year, and continue to give back to the community that I've benefited so much from.
That's amazing.
That's rare. That's rare. Like, you are so, like, as a CEO, you're so close to like steering this thing the way that you want it to go. And I just, other companies they're not like that. It's not as,
We'll
I'm going to
see.
use, but I don't mean what people think. I mean, like, you're able to be like really close to everything, which is just rare. I respect that a lot. It's one of the reasons we like working.
The butter's getting thin, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. We don't talk nearly as much anymore. I'm so hurt. I'm kidding.
That's funny. My fiance just said that to me earlier tonight.
I think we're all hearing that as deer hunters and huntresses. Like, there's like, deer hunting is it's a real relationship taxing event. Honestly, if you're pretty serious with deer hunting, you can really, like, my wife compared it to gambling the other day, and I said, I don't think you're too far off.
It's more fun than
No.
gambling.
But just the same, like, part of the brain that's like used to
Less
addiction.
rewarding.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, it's pretty depressing to walk in and piss away a couple $100 and not walk out with anything.
Yeah, well, how do you think I feel when I go deer hunting?
I pissed away this season so
Yeah.
far.
Talk about this.
I get it.
Don't get the calculator out.
Did you get to hang out with the Nuge?
The new?
Yeah, I did.
What the hell, man? What happened there? So one time we had a prank caller. So we have all these sexting things happening today, which is new. And that's the first time we've had an issue since we had a prank caller that said they got a reach-around from Ted Nugent. They said they put him in a stranglehold.
Did they
That was a prank caller.
Baby or just
No, they just said reach around from.
Oh
Ted
man,
Nugent.
that's awesome.
That must have been a hell of an experience.
the reach around or what built it?
Yeah, it was amazing, and it was awesome to be able to sit with him around the campfire and hear him riff and play some songs. It was a good time.
That is pretty great. That's not something a lot of people get to experience. Is that, and like, the guy's he's not young, man. Like, Uncle Ted he's getting up there.
72.
Yeah,
Dang.
no doubt. That's like saying I wish
But
I
he's
would have.
still sharp.
Yeah, well, he seems to be pretty sharp still.
He was close with Fred Bear, the man.
He
Yeah,
was.
well, yeah, Fred Bear. I can probably get this in frame here. Let's see if I can get Derek to. I'll put it up on the full screen. Have you seen this, Bill? Do you know Derek on our team here is an artist, and he drew this drawing. Scooch this way a little bit, buddy, and we'll get real tight on that Fred Bear drawing that you put together. Look at that thing.
Dude, I need one of those. Can you make me one of those?
They're for sale.
can
He's
hook
got
you up,
prints.
man.
Yeah. He sold a lot of these at our trade show last March, and then it went viral on TikTok.
You did an awesome TikTok where you talked about
I did a
the
Fred Bear
hunt and
quote.
Fred Bear.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
And then it like blew up, and everyone's like, "Where do I get that?" And I'm like, "Talk to Derek. He's the guy. He's who you got to talk to." That's pretty neat. Anywho,
Derek, we gotta talk
Well,
after this. I'm gonna commission you to make me one of those. I don't want a print. I want an original.
Ooh.
Oh,
there's been
boy.
some bidding wars over the original, but
I still have it.
Bill might have the he might have the wherewithal to write you a check for that one.
The prediction is
I want it.
Seriously, these dudes, Bill, got into a full-on fight at the trade show in March, fighting over the original.
I don't think I was there when that happened.
No,
No,
you weren't.
I had to like fend
'Cause
them off.
also, my phone was blowing up. Greg was like, dude.
It was a couple of older gentlemen. They were twin brothers, and they were like fighting over it. And I'm like, I can't arm wrestle either one of you. I'd probably break both of you, but I'm telling you that I can't speak for the man who drew it. So fight it out later, okay?
It was Gary and Jerry
That's a
Wagner.
good fight to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice guys. They just shot some
But-
really good deer in Wisconsin here
but-
last week.
But they didn't want to pay the piper.
Crazy. It was pretty wild, man, the whole thing. But yeah, we'll end the live broadcast because for the life of me, can't remember what the hell I was going to say, unfortunatately. So if it ever comes back around, I'll put it in as a post edit.
Yeah,
oh,
let's
Bill,
do
you
a
got
live one. I'll be over there this spring.
All
Good.
right.
Hell
Good.
yeah.
Sounds good.
SpartanForge.ai, folks. They have a free version. Of course, you can use code OHP for 20% off, which I made a mistake earlier in the year. That's probably Bill's fault.
Probably.
I was saying 25% off, but it's 20% off. And you have to go to the website and redeem that code and log in, and then from there you can go get the app and
Eric,
stuff. And right,
Eric,
is that
before
right?
we go off here, somebody asked a question about property owners. I just want to quickly take 10 seconds to talk about property data. I deal with a couple of contract companies for property data, but then I also have to call county seats for property data. So I think it's just helpful to understand that there's not just like one funnel that I get property data from. So when people say, how often does property data update? It updates as we get it concurrently with the system. The problem is someone buys a house, the county seat can take between a year or 2 years to update the data in an area, or it can be done in 10 minutes. It all depends on the county that you live in and where you're at. And then whether or not the county digitizes the data or it has to be manually scanned. In some cases, it has to be manually scanned. For about 85% of the U.S., there's companies that I buy this data from, but for the rest of the 15%, it's whenever I can get on the phone and actually get somebody who can send me a link to the data, or I can get the data downloaded, or I can get a plat book and scan it and then have a computer digitally input all of that data. Again, that's like one of the disadvantages of being a small company and not, the size of like an OffX where we have 80 people. It's just a time thing. So I update it as I get it. Most of the US gets updated, as the data is live. But for that last 15%, it can take some time. And it's definitely one of the hires that I'm going to make in the off season is for a full-time property researcher. So that's all to say that last 15% can be tricky, but we do have all of the outlines for the properties. It's just sometimes we don't have the names, or if we do, they can sometimes be out of date. So that's just to answer that question.
He just bought the app and is browsing through local land. I'll add to your point there and say that like on Spartan Forge, you can highlight a property and you can like put it as permissible or not permissible with notes, pictures, and so forth. So like when you consider your pro staff like Lee Ellis, who's knocking on doors and stuff and killing like the biggest deer in the world every day in every state with pure ease because he's just the nicest human in the world. So F him for being so effing nice.
Guy climbed up in a
Wow.
freaking tree branch and shot a beautiful buck this year. That was awesome.
Yeah, but to that point, like you can go in and actually like it'll be green or red, like denied or permissible. So if you're knocking on doors, you can use Spartan Forge to kind of keep tabs on which areas and plots you have. So I actually do have I gained permission on private 2 weeks ago, not far from my house on a nice property. I've showed it to Greg. He says I need to get my ass out there, but I'm like reluctant because I don't know. I'm an idiot, I guess. But I put it as green on Spartan Forge, so it's a green property. It's 15 acres.
I bet you that felt good.
Yeah, that's the first time I've ever done. I'd have to knock on the door. I know the guy, and I was like, "Hey, he was going to build a house there."
Now, if you mark it red, Eric, and the property gets sold, you'll get an alert. It'll turn purple, and it'll tell you to go back to that property and ask for new access because there's a new owner.
I've never seen purple.
That seems nice.
Probably just because you haven't had a property that's changed hands.
Yeah, no, I have never done. No, that's something I've not seen. Tony Cordero, for 1 hour only, 95% off Spartan Forge with code OHP. That is not true, folks. Tony, get the F out of here. It's just 20%.
We got to meet Tony at a BHA event. He's a good guy.
He's a good dude. Yeah.
It's not a joker usually though.
No.
Oh, and he said in yellow for
serious.
Scott said yellow for conditional as well.
Yeah. So if you can only hang a camera, or you can only do turkey, or you can only do doe, you can mark that as conditional and then put your conditions in the notes.
That's good. No, Greg has a conditional because he's got a property he's got access to that he can only kill doe on. So you might want to put a yellow on that one there, big guy.
It's a green, wishful thinking. We're going to take advantage of it. We're going to fill the freezer. Everything will be great. It'll be fine.
Was that your Trump impression?
No.
Does anyone else? Has anyone else watched the Jeffrey Dahmer? Does he just
normal size hands?
There's like a billion does. It's like
a billion
does.
does.
I gotta say that the Jeffrey Dahmer just sounds like Napoleon Dynamite became a murderer.
Those are my
Literally.
favorite memes of the Jeffrey Dahmer.
Do you want some
Napoleon
tuts?
Dynamite.
I'm just gonna take some pictures.
Lord.
On that note,
Hey, but also before we end here, make sure y'all check into the Instagram live tonight.
oh yeah, what time is that at? It's at 8 p.m. Central
It's in
Standard Time.
45 minutes, so I'm gonna run inside and slam a beer and eat some food, and then come back out.
Woo!
All right,
All
Bill.
right.
We'll talk to you later.
Then
We'll
we'll
get this
tune
posted.
in.
Send me a new picture. Something not nude. I said new.
He said nude.
Send me a new.
Those XX
Send me a picture.
So make sure you put the inverted eggplant in place. Okay.
Just give me a freaking eggplant. Send me a picture of you with some sort of animal that I can use. That's not
Steal
the
the
same
one
that-
off my. Hey, we're friends on Facebook. Steal the one of me with the hog on Facebook.
I can do that. But do you have any other ones that are not on social media that can make us look like we really know Bill Thompson?
Yeah.
Mean like a dragon.
Yeah, I'll send you one. I'll send you one. I'll send you a couple older ones.
Thank you, buddy. All right. See you.
It might be
See
an
ya.
All right, guys.
inverted eggplant.
Have a good night, Bill.
Thank
See
you.
Bill.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
And on that note, folks,
The
Thanks
shit
for tuning into the
show
shit
has
show.
Ended.
should we just rename our podcast the Shit Show Podcast? And then just like we can talk about
I think
It
it
anything.
was
would
named the
probably
Shit Show
increase
Podcast.
our
It's called the OK.
viewership by 20-fold.
20-fold.
At least 20.
Bill's like running off statistics like, oh, yeah, the country's like 85%, you know, they operate this way. And
5%
Greg's over here
of
like,
the time, it works every time.
60% of the time, it doesn't fucking work any of the times. I
Damn.
tried grunting at that. I saw that buck. I don't even know if it's a buck, guys.
That doe that was rubbing that tree.
The doe that was rubbing
It
the
was
tree.
a doe that had a twig stuck in its
I
forehead.
think that was a
It's
cat
fine.
that had some catnip in the tree. I don't really understand what the hell was going on with that situation.
I think that deer's eggplant was stuck on the tree.
He's rubbing it with something.
Son of a-
I have
Bob
never
rubbing.
seen a deer rub a tree that didn't have antlers.
Yeah, you did. I saw the footage.
That was the first. I was like, and then I grunted him, right? I grunted at him. He just looks over, all curious, and then kept rubbing the tree. I was like, I can't even call it a freaking yearling buck. That's how okay I am. He wouldn't even come. And I rubbed antlers on the tree. I was like moving branches. I was doing stuff. Nothing. He's like, meh, sounds interesting, but I'm going to go this way, buddy. And that was
He
that.
knew,
Probably not
like
one
he
to
was out of his
confront.
league. He was
Probably
already
not one to
outclassed.
confront.
It was at that
Because
moment
he
when
had
I said to
one horn,
myself,
and he figured you had two hands, which sounded like two horns, shaking bushes
yeah.
and scratching yourself.
Two-handed bush shaker.
Two-handed bush grabber, right?
But it was
there.
at that moment I thought, wow, I can't even call it a yearling buck.
That's got to be a T-shirt. Two-handed bush.
Two-handed bush grabber right there.
Hey, we have
He's
new
one-handed
we have new
bush.
koozies, guys.
Hey,
Do you want to
Hey,
talk about how,
except
Logan
Bush.
how
Yeah,
comfortable
there you
how
go. Well,
comfortable
cheers
is
to
this
that.
koozie? We got the
All
green
right.
ones.
It's comfortable.
If you buy red and a green, it's a Christmas present. Okay,
Red Green Show.
Yes,
Merry
just
Christmas.
before Christmas time.
But these are, and the logos look really sharp on the new. We got like a new embroidery process for these, so it looks real good. So if you are one of the first buyers of the original, you're an OGer now because
You better hide that thing.
It's
like-
It's a collectible.
it's
It's
correct
very- very-
because they ain't gonna look like that anymore. They're still $10, which is really expensive, but that's just how much it costs us to make these
they're
damn
damn
things.
cool.
Yeah, you can't call them a koozie. Did you know that? Like you
They're
can't.
not.
W-
It's
but we-
officially not made by Koozie. with
Koozie is a
K.
trademark
It's a
thing. Our
trademark
lawyer was
name.
like, you can't call them koozie. I was like, wait, what?
This is a can cooler.
Cool. It's a can cooler. It's like Kleenex. They've actually become the Kleenex.
Yeah,
Of
The Kleenex.
koozie. It's not a koozie, even though we all call it koozies. It's a can cooler. So we had to take that off our website real quick because I don't want to get sued for making freaking can coolers. Anywho, all right, I'm gonna end the live broadcast, and thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate you. Sorry, Evan, that you couldn't hear Bill. I don't know what that was all about.
You have to watch the playback.
Yeah, maybe it was his fault. I'll text him. All right, see you, folks.
Thanks for tuning in, putting up with our bullshit.
Good luck.